got a song. You've got a song. We've all got a song to sing. Howdy, this is the Fresh Toones Show. My name is Dave Paltz. And over the last 5 years on Rochester Free Radio, I've been sharing my fresh tunes and kind of sharing my thoughts about writing songs and telling our stories. Today's episode is one of my Writing Your Songs episodes, and it combines the storytelling idea because the theme of today's show is Your Song is Your Story. This 10th episode of this series of Writing Your Song is the final one, and I'm going to kind of sum up things by going through a little bit of the process of my songwriting over the last 50 years. And I'm going to take a song from different periods of my songwriting. And I've gone through a lot of changes over the last 50 years. And I think it might be interesting to see how my songwriting changed. And I'm going to start with this song called Put Your Head in a Brown Paper Sack. And what that refers to is in the early 70s, around 1970, maybe earlier, young people were starting to put glue in brown paper bags and huffing it to get high. And then I kind of related to that brown paper sack as kind of being the sack that some people put their heads in, a societal brown paper sack that kind of tells them this is what you're going to look like, this is how you're going to do things. Well, I wasn't going to go along with that, so I wrote this song to boost my energies, to fight this attempt to get into the norm and do the right things and get into the societal paper bag and live my life that way. So that may give you a little context of why I wrote this song. It was my first song, and it really got me into songwriting and telling my story and thinking kind of independently of who I wanted to be and making societal observations. So here we go with Put Your Head in a Brown Paper Sack. Put your head in a brown paper sack. You can have all their money and status and respect, but you'll still have to sniff their glue, which is sure to mess your mind up on you. Put your head in a brown paper sack. You can have all their lying and cheating and stealing crap, but their glue will be mighty powerful for you, and you'll end up doing just like they do. Put your head in a brown paper sack. You can have all their money and status and respect, but you'll still have to sniff their glue, which is sure to mess your mind up on you. There was a lot going on in the early 70s. And 2 years after writing that song, I was kind of consumed by the Vietnam War and in the decisions that I was going to have to make. All the way up to the age of 14 or 15, I thought, I would want to serve my country and fight for our freedom, and spoke with one of my friends whose brothers were over in Vietnam and telling them some pretty gruesome stories of what we were involved with. And he was a couple years older than me, and he said, well, I'm not going in the service. I'm not going to be part of that. And I said, don't you want to serve your country? And he kind of looked at me like, you want to be a part of that? Well, I didn't flip on the moment. I took the next 2 years of my life, like reading everything I could on both sides of the Vietnam War. Got kind of consumed in it. And When it came time, I was one of the few friends that had a lottery number that was in that range of being drafted, so I really had to decide for myself. Had to figure out if I was going to go to Canada or go to jail, and I applied for conscientious objector because I was really against that war, but because I wasn't of a religion that you could do that with, they rejected it. And I wrote this song called Never Had the Will, and as I'm listening to that recording now, I can really feel the energy and frustration and everything else that I felt at the time.
2 years of my life, they put me uptight, wanted me to fight for thoughts that I didn't even like, tried to send me away, but here I stand, tried to rest my mind, didn't believe I believed in what I signed, never wanted to kill, never had the will, never wanted to kill, and I hope the world that it's filled of killing me. Oh, children just want to live, a chance the world should give. Tried to send me away, but here I stay. Enough of this talk, I'm going out for a skip, gonna go out for a walk. Never wanted to kill, never had the will, never wanted to kill, and I hope the world that it's filled of killing me. Children just want to live, a chance the world should give.
Because this is a Writing Your Song episode of the Fresh Toones Show, I want to just share with you how much that means, that these songs that I accumulated and just recently have been going in on these old cassettes from the 1970s, grabbing those songs into the computer, to have those memories, to put me in those moments when I wrote the song and how I was feeling, are priceless. So if you get into songwriting, keep track of your songs. A lot of them you're going to keep to yourself. And someday you're going to really appreciate having them. They'll be better than photographs, home movies, and everything else. These songs that you wrote are going to put you so much in that moment that you'll just be absorbed into them. So think about that as you're writing songs and keeping track of them, and have a grand time writing them because those are going to be your memories, and they're going to be so precious to you. After the Vietnam debacle got resolved and I moved on to other things to work on in my life, I had my first really close love affair with someone and spent much of the rest of the 1970s trying to figure out things. And this is a song that I wrote near the end of that relationship. It's called What a Dream It Was. I had a dream. You were lying in my arms. I dreamt I could hear you. You were whispering my name. But it was only dreaming. Only dreaming. It's only dreaming. But what a dream it was. I had a wish that I was there with you. I saw your smile, and I was smiling too. But it was only dreaming, only dreaming. It's only dreaming, but what a dream it was. Oh, what a dream it was. Beginning in the 1980s, I ran a coffee house in the Art Institute of the New Age, an art school, and I took courses there, and I was friends with Philip Jacobson, who was the owner and the director of the Art Institute of the New Age. Met a lot of fine folks there, and I learned a lot in painting in the old master techniques of mixed media, egg tempera, and oil. And I met a lot of fine musicians that came and performed at the New Age Coffee House. About 1983 or so, after living off of my savings for a couple of years, after working at RPC as a mental health therapist aide for 4 or 5 years, I had to go back to work, and luckily they took me back. I had got my 4-year degree since working there, and I worked my way up to be a rehab counselor. One of the nice things they allowed me to do was to come in on Wednesday evening after their supper and play some music for the folks in the library that me and the clients had built and put together up on the ward. This was a song that I wrote back in that time period in the 1980s, and I played it for them often. It's called You Can Do It.
You can do it, you can make it through it, even though you might wonder why. There is something inside you, and it's walking beside you, and it is larger than yourself, and it's whispering your name, and it's wiping your eyes, and it's touching your soul, set you free. You are unique to this world. You need to let your flag be unfurled, to be who you are, and that is all. The sun has sprouted your seed, the warmth has lifted your head. And now you know what you know, and that is all. And it's whispering your name, and it's wiping your eyes, and it's touching your soul to set you free. You can do it, you can make it through it, even though you might wonder why. There is something inside you, and it's walking beside you, and it is larger than yourself, and it's whispering your name, and it's wiping your eyes, and it's touching your soul to set you free.
This is the Fresh Toones Show, and the theme of today's Writing Your Song episode is called Your Song is Your Story. So I've been kind of sharing some of the story behind a few of the songs that I've written over the 5 decades. In the 1990s, started to write songs that were more spiritual. Well, maybe that's not true. More introspectional. In general, more pushing towards finding our love and coming to understand what we mean by that. This song is called Find Your Love.
I haven't been where you are, I don't know what you're feeling. I can only sing this song and see what comes along. I've been where I've been, and I've learned from what I've lived through. I'll give these words to anyone that's ever heard. Find your love, find your love, be your love, be your love, give your love to you. I'll hold your hand, we'll cry together, we'll search with each new breath to find the love that's there for us. May seem out of reach as our tears are falling freely. Let them cleanse our sight, help us find a way tonight to find our love, to be our love, to give our love to you. Make it through the night, I know we can do it. We can find a way to make sure that love lives another day. The morning light arrives, and with her smile she reminds us her love is always there, there for us to share. Find your love, be your love, give your love to
Well, I'm going to keep my words short here because there's only time for maybe 2 more songs that I want to get in. In the 2000s and 2010s, my songs became much more social issue focused and political, particularly in 2016 and 2020. This song is called If There's a Will, There's a Way, because I really want to believe that if we can find the will, we can get things to go in the right direction.
America can't breathe if we refuse to see the things we need to change today. We've worked through harder things, some say this one's too big. There's a will, there is a way. So lift up your eyes now, stand up and say, well, she's not perfect and neither am I. We've got to work together if we want to survive. We've got to use our heads and figure it out and be brave enough to look at ourselves. 'Cause America can't breathe if we refuse to see the things we need to change today. We've worked through harder things, some say this one's too big. But there's a will, there is a way. We've got to lift up our eyes now, stand up and say, well, she's not perfect and neither am I. We've got to work together if we want to survive. We've got to use our heads and figure it out. Be brave enough to look at ourselves. America can't breathe if we refuse to see the things we need to change today. We've worked through harder things, some say this one's too big. But if there's a will, there is a way. If there's a will, there is a way. There's a will, there is a way. If there's a will, there is a way. If there's a will, there is a way. If there's a will, there is a way.
Well, as I wrap up today's Fresh Toones Show about your song is your story, I just want to share some last thoughts about where I'm at now these days when I'm almost 70 writing songs. About a year or so ago, I thought I'd pretty much wrapped up saying everything I needed in song and I was moving on to other things, maybe get back into painting. But all of a sudden I hit this thing of writing poems and then writing songs that I call songful poems from them. And it's really expanded this whole new world of different subjects for songwriting that I never really approached before. Songs about grandma, songs about pet songs, songs about whatever, some of them political. Don't think I've left that territory totally. So I've got this whole new scope of things to write songs about. This song has really struck me as a very beautiful song, and it kind of sums up this whole thing that I thought songwriting was kind of finished, but as this song says, the song keeps on flowing.
We sit beside the river, her current hums along. We know she'll keep on flowing, gives love with her sweet song. The course of her direction may not always be so clear. To flow with her intentions
give song to those that hear. The song keeps on flowing, and you hear the tune. She sings to bring you home again, to a place you left too soon. We needn't splash and swim, her melody is right. We navigate the rapids and wave as we go by. And when the river widens and flows into the sea, we'll sing and join the chorus for the song that'll always be. The song keeps on flowing, and you hear the tune. She sings to bring you home again, to the place you left too soon. You've returned to claim your present, a gift she gave to you. It's not too late to tell her, with my love I give back to you. The song keeps on flowing, the song keeps on flowing back to you, back to you, back to you. That's it for this week's Fresh Toones Show. Hope everybody's out there finding ways to tell their story, and have a great week. So long now.